Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Here we are in the Psychology of Eating podcast, and I'm with Lenka today. Welcome, Lenka.
Thank you, Marc. Hello.
Yes. Where are you geographically right now?
I live in Prague, which is in Czech Republic. So it's the Central Europe. I don't know, neighboring countries, Germany, Austria. Yeah.
Yes. One place I would love to visit. Absolutely love to visit. So
it's very beautiful here.
Oh, I bet. So if you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted with food and body, what would that be for you?
Yeah, I would like to never come back to, seeing food as an enemy and also abusing food, sort of manipulate with food. I would really like to only enjoy eating. That would be, or, see food as really like a celebration, or maybe something I would do to be healthy and nourished. That would be great.
Mm-hmm. So
maybe
when
too ambitious.
Oh, I don't think that's ambitious at all. I love that. So when you feel like you're using food or abusing food, what does that look like for you?
Actually, I was thinking about this typology you provide for men and women, why they abuse food. And I think I actually somehow use the more male strategy to numb out, so when I'm really overwhelmed and maybe anxious and I want to relax somehow. So then I feel like, filling myself with food and actually, I don't do it very much recently, but I think I still have this, inner tendency, and I think it's something like a learned behavior. And it's like first in the repertoire what I have, so first in my mind, and I then have to consciously always remind myself that this will at the end never help me, but and actually it's going on for so long because I started to be bulimic when I was not even 15, that I actually don't remember how it is to be completely relaxed around food, and never have this in my mind. And then I, of course, have these questions in my head if other women, because I, of course, know that many women have concerns about their weight and they are considering what to eat and what not to eat. So then I'm not sure if actually my idea how it is to be relaxed around food is something hardly achievable for many women. So, but anyway, I would like to have this and I sort of play this game with myself. Let's say that I decided to have dessert almost every day, like sort of include these foods which I had the feeling they are not healthy or I should not, eat, like sugar and desserts and stuff. But still, yeah, I think it's a way when I'm really tired or when I want to avoid something that I just use it like an escape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you started noticing this from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you now?
I'm 43.
Do you feel like you've in any way made your relationship with food better over the years?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the beginning was really difficult. Yeah, it was like a very intense.
So are there times for you when, even if it's for a day or a weekend, where you do feel like you have more freedom with food and you are just enjoying it and you forget about all the talk in your mind? Do you ever notice times like that when it just eating feels easier and more natural?
Yeah, definitely. And it's usually when I'm in general relaxed. So when I'm in a company which I enjoy, when I'm doing things which I enjoy, when I don't feel under pressure. So it's not that I would, when I started to be bulimic, it was really like, I would say I was overruled by this habit. And this is not the case now. So I went through a lot of healing and working on myself, but still, when I have too much work and it happens, let's say when I already work the entire day, I come home and then I still know that I have to do something and then I can't anymore. And then instead of being nice to myself and say, okay, Lenka, you should relax. Okay, I sometimes do this as well. But, I sort of think, oh, let's, eat this and that. And then so it's like, like if I couldn't give myself an excuse other than this to have my time, or I don't know how to say it. It's very difficult for me even to understand it in a way,
Do you live alone?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And where are you at in the relationship universe? Are you in a relationship, interested in one?
I'm single, and I'm single for quite some time. It has been 5 years, and I don't really understand why I don't have relationship. Many people say that it's because I work too much. So actually I have a cat and I really like her. So it's my relationship, but it's cannot, of course, compare to having like a partnership or So I think I'm I would like to have one.
Yes. So who thinks you work too much? Friends, family?
Yeah, friends and family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you work outside your home?
Unfortunately, recently I was at home a lot because of COVID, because there were many lockdown measures in Prague. Before I could work a lot from home. So it was like 50-50, I would say. Half of the time I was out of home, half of the time, but I was not regularly going to the office.
Mm-hmm. So when you imagine having just more freedom with food, not seeing it like it's the enemy and not having to rely on it, or not finding yourself like coming home and just eating food maybe to numb out, when you see yourself in the place that you would like to be, mm-hmm. How do you imagine, what do you say to yourself? Like, here's how my life would be different. Here's how I would be different. Like, what would be different for you internally, externally?
I think it's connected to, my idea is to be more relaxed about everything. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about food. And I think that in my case, it's really connected also with some perfectionism. So I just, but I often have the question if I can change like this, So I'm sort of not really sure if I should accept myself the perfectionist I am, and maybe that would mean that I relax, or if I should relax and be less perfectionist. But I think this is all connected, like the whole life philosophy would probably change to really change the relationship with food, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Early 40s, I find, are an interesting time for both women and men. the 40s itself, I often think of as, for women, it's a time when you're a queen in training. You're no longer young. You're not old, but you're not a teenager. You're not in your 20s anymore. You're not a girl anymore. You're not in the princess archetype anymore. You're not fully in the queen archetype. The 40s are an interesting transitional time, I find, for women and for men. Men are in their king in training stage. I find it's a time that we start to really locate, access, and or try to find our power more. Mm-hmm. We try to find our voice more. We still have youth on our side to the point where you have energy and you have health, and might not all be perfect, but there's still things you want in life. There's still things you want to accomplish. And there might still be things we're letting go of from the past, but it's a time when things can start to come together. Mm-hmm. And I think part of our life coming together is doing exactly what you're doing, which is asking the questions, okay, where is it that I need to get better at in my life? What are the places that are draining my energy? So if your relationship with food has some drain on your energy, really it's draining your power. And if it's draining your power, your voice, your expression, then it's stopping you from being more the person that you want to be. And for me, I think the questions to ask, especially in one's 40s, is how do I want to chart my life's course mm-hmm. over these next number of years? Where do I wish to go? Who do I wish to be? Forget about food for a moment. Mm-hmm. What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your personal life to look like? What do you want your professional life to look like? Mm-hmm. Those to me are key questions, because from what you've just told me, you've had a long journey with food, and especially coming from bulimia and coming out of bulimia. So you've obviously done a lot of work on yourself. You've done a lot of healing. And now the work is continuing. It sounds to me like you're fine-tuning a bit. And it really caught my attention when you said to me, yeah, I haven't been in a relationship for a while, but it's something I would like to do. And you sort of kind of postulated that, maybe it's that I work too much. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes when food is our best relationship, that's what's going to get that's the relationship that's going to get our energy. So if you have energy to be in relationship, and it doesn't have to be with a significant other, we're human beings, we need contact. So we need our friends, we need our family, we need loved ones, we need animals, we need whatever we need to do to feel like, I'm fulfilling that part of me that is just a relationship creature. And I just wonder for you, are you giving your relationship with another human being, an intimate relationship, which it sounds like it's something you want, are you giving that all the attention that it deserves, or are you holding back?
Oh, that's a difficult question.
It's a good question though, right?
Yeah, it's difficult for me to answer, because I would say I give a lot into everything I find meaningful. But it's true that what I get as a feedback is that I'm very that I'm not so easy to reach. Yeah, that I'm like constantly busy with something. And this is what I now consider if I don't do too many things. And if it's maybe then, yeah, I'm not sure actually. That's, yeah, that's very hard to tell, because objectively it's true that I have the tendency to take over many, many activities, and yeah.
Here's what I would say. I'm going to just put this out there, see how it lands for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this first. I often look at our relationship with food as a place where we can have our life reflected back to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we look in the mirror called my relationship with food and my body, but what's reflected to us is not just about food. It's often other parts of life that are wanting more attention from us.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, it makes perfect sense to me that you, as a woman, as an adult, you want to have a better relationship with food. You want to have a relationship with food that feels healthier, that feels more free. And it's not like it's so bad,
Mm-hmm.
but you just want it to be better. You want to feel like you can be in an easy, more flowing relationship with food.
Mm-hmm.
Makes perfect sense to me. I then ask myself the question, I'm wondering to myself, okay, for Lenka, how is her relationship with food reflecting in any way something about her relationship with life? So that's the question I ask. Sometimes it's a good question. And where I'm landing right now is it sounds like something that could be important to you, if not very important, is you being in a significant relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're single, and being single is great. Being single, you can learn so much about yourself.
Yes, that's true.
Really, you can learn so much about yourself. And oftentimes we hit the point in singlehood when we're ready for a relationship, or this is what I want. And when we don't have that, our relationship with food can become more important.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I want you to work on your relationship with food.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way for you to work on your relationship with food is actually to not work on it so much,
Mm-hmm.
and attend to who does Lenka need to be? How do you need to behave? How do you need to structure your life? What do you need to do different in order to be an open door for a relationship to find you? Because when that happens, I think relationship with food, it's not that important. Like, yes, it's important, but you're starting to go for and focus on what you really want, which is intimacy, connection, significant relationship. That's where your energy is going.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that when we start to live the life we're meant to live, we begin to have the relationship with food that we're meant to have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How does that all land for you when I say all that?
Yeah, I think you're actually right. But I don't know, it came to my mind, that I'm like not good enough or not worthy of a relationship, something like this, that I should be completely healthy, or, idea like this, that something like that. I have to make my life perfect to invite someone in, something like this. It makes me feel really sad, actually, when I'm saying it.
Yes, I'm happy that you've noticed that. I really am, because a lot of people have that belief, women and men. I especially notice it in women, where we feel like, oh, you need to be perfect. Once you're perfect, then you're worthy.
Mm.
And then, but everybody has their own different definition of perfect. And usually, for a lot of women, the definition of perfect becomes, I eat perfectly, I look perfectly, I weigh perfectly, some combination of that, if not the whole package. And really, what we're in relationship with is perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we're sleeping with. And it's not a nice partner to be in bed with. So I'm going to just say, now that you've identified that belief is in there, on the one hand, it's understandable because you didn't invent that belief. You're not the first human being I've spoken to. You're maybe about the 1,000th human being I've spoken to, if not more, that has that belief. So we learn it from the world. And the sooner we see that, the better. And now you're seeing that. And what it means really is that you're free to start to embrace what you really want, to start to own what you really want. And it's easy for us to use my relationship with food or my body or my weight as an excuse for why I can't be in relationship, why I can't have intimacy, why I can't be loved. In a way, it can function like a protection, because you're not taking any risks. Because to be in relationship and to find the right relationship for you, there's a certain amount of risk. We got a date. You have to get to know people. There might be people you need to say no to very quickly. There might be, we don't know what's going to happen. It's a very unknown process. It can be a very vulnerable process. It can be scary. I don't know. It could be exciting as well. But I think there's a powerful connection for you between relationship and food. And the place to focus on is, okay, now that I see that I can have this way of thinking, oh, I somehow don't deserve relationship until I'm perfect. You can slowly begin to let that old belief just kind of die. Just let it die. Meaning, stop feeding it. Mm-hmm. Meaning, start noticing it. Mm-hmm. Meaning, start acknowledging to yourself, wait a second, that's not true. That's simply not true. If we all had to be perfect before we entered relationship, nobody would ever have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, nobody would ever get married. Nothing would ever happen. We'd all be lonely and single. So part of it is looking at, I'm imagining, you tell me, are you the kind of person that's been rewarded either by others or just your own self for being a good worker and a hard worker and doing your job and taking on more responsibilities that makes you feel good, or other people are acknowledging you because, yes, Lenka, you're so good at this. Thanks for working so hard.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's something in me, actually, and I'm trying to get rid of this sort of trying to do more than others, and I think it doesn't sound very nice. I really want to get rid of this, but I think I a lot had this, that I was trying to sort of do a little bit impossible, and then when I did more than human beings managed, then I felt good about myself.
Yes.
And I had a period when I was proud that I don't need to eat and sleep, and I find it really ridiculous right now. But I really did things like this for work or for my university studies, and let's say my ex-boyfriend said that I look like killing myself with what I was doing, that I didn't sleep entire night because I was working and stuff like this. Yeah.
When we as human beings do those kinds of behaviors, there's always a good reason for it. The good reason why you might have acted like that in the past is because it made you feel good about yourself. And it might have been one of the few things that made you feel good about yourself. And we're humans and we want to feel good about ourselves. I want to feel like I have value. I want to feel like I'm worthy. I want to feel like I'm good enough, that I deserve. And somehow at some point in your life, it doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter how, but you got the belief in your mind that if I work harder, if I push past my limits, if I push past my body, my need to sleep, my need to eat, and I accomplish things, then yeah, I am amazing because I'm superhuman. I don't even need to do the things normal humans do.
Yeah, that was there, definitely.
And that's the child in us. That's a childhood mentality of if I can just transcend, if I can be superwoman, Superman, then everybody's going to love me. And of course, I'm going to love me. And then I'll deserve. There's a little bit of competition in it. Like I'm better than everybody else. A little bit of that. But at its core, it helps us find value. So you're at a time in your life where you can examine your values and see, do these values really work for me? Does this value called I need to be perfect, does that work for you? And it doesn't. So you have to remind yourself, maybe on a daily basis, that perfectionism doesn't work for you because it's been around for a while. It's been talking to you for a while. So sometimes we just have to talk back to it. Like, oh, here I am trying to be perfect again. So yeah, we'll never have a perfect relationship with food, but that's okay. We'll never really have a perfect anything. And part of it is about letting go of that old religion, meaning it's this set of rules that we worship as if it comes from on high. And we worship these rules as if they're sacred and should not be broken. I need to be perfect. I need to be better than everybody else. I need to be perfect in order to be in a relationship. And I think part of your task is to start to embrace imperfection. More so, embrace your humanness. Embrace messiness. We're humans and we're not perfect, and not even close. And perfectionism can almost be like a suit of armor. It stops intimacy. It can stop connection because it overpowers everything else. I need to be perfect. And I'm sorry, I don't have time for this or for you or for that because I got to focus on being perfect. And that might mean working more, working extra hours. And there's a part of you that just wants to come home or finish your work day and just relax and be human. And be messy and eat some food and eat something that's not on your perfect to eat list. There's a way to embrace that such that you're not fighting it, where you don't have to overeat, where you can just be a human being who just had a long day and you want to have something fun to eat. Give yourself a reward. That's not terrible. We love rewards. That's why you're trying to be perfect. You expect there's going to be a reward on the other side. But the challenge is when we try to hold off from using food to reward us, we're setting up almost like an artificial battle. That's not the real battle. That's not the fight we should be fighting. I think where your energy wants to go is into being, what does Lenka really want? And I would love to see you start to focus on, what do you want in a relationship? What kind of person are you looking for? What kind of relationship do you want to have? What are your key values when you're in relationship? What are you excited about when it comes to relationship? What are you a little fearful about? And what do you do as a person to just be an open door for relationship? Mm-hmm. I think that's where the action is. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I can even answer these questions right now. I don't know if it's
yes.
But this is very. It's a lot to. It's interesting what you said. That's a shield to intimacy. I don't know. I just was thinking about my ex-partner who said that he was so amazed how perfect I am at the beginning. And after some years, he was really tired of this. So it's really probably blocking, it can be probably very shiny from outside, very difficult to handle in the everyday. And
well, people want to be in relationship with the real you. They want to be in relationship with Lenka. I'm not interested if you and I are friends, or if we're in relationship, I want to know you. I don't want to know an image of you.
Yeah, I think it's so difficult that I sometimes don't know who I am, actually, I think, in many ways, because I have so many ideas how I should be, which I try to fulfill. That I was thinking about it recently, that maybe I'm not completely sure,
Yeah.
Behind all this, I have a lot of what I should be. It's like, I think I see my life a lot like full of some duties or and I like and things I should fulfill and please someone. And it's very hard for me to really know what exactly I want. And it's interesting because you said that I should think what I would like from a partner. And I thought first thing what came to my head was that I would really like to have someone who takes me as I am. But it's very difficult when I'm sometimes not sure who I am. And also, I definitely don't have the capacity to do this for myself. That's...
So what a great thing to start to do. So I'm with you. There's a part of you that's asking the question, who am I? What do I want? And that's fine. I think we as humans go through different times in life when we ask those questions. Sometimes you know who you are. Here's what I'm doing. Here's a school I go to. Here's a job I have. Here's where I live. Here's my friendships. And sometimes it's clear. And then things change. And maybe we have a breakup, or maybe we move, or maybe we get a different job, or somebody dies, or something happens. And oh my goodness, who am I? What am I doing with my life? So I don't know that these are bad questions to ask, or that there's anything wrong with you because you're asking them at this point in your life. I think it's a wonderful thing. And it doesn't mean that you can ask deeper questions and get answers right away. But the way we get answers is by keep attending to the question.
Mm-hmm.
So a powerful question is like, it's like starting a little campfire, you just get a little bit of twigs burning, and you blow on it a little bit, and you give it some oxygen, and you put a little bit more branches on, and you keep feeding that flame. And an interesting assignment or an interesting journaling exercise for you might be to just start to journal about what you want the rest of your life to look like. Literally, ask yourself, to what age would I like to live? Do you want it to be 60, 70, 90, 100? Pick a number.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think you'd like to live for?
Actually, I think I will live until 80, but I don't know why.
Okay, so let's say 80s. So you want to live into your 80s. So that's another 40 years of life, given that you're 43. So you got 40 years of life. That's pretty much just double what you've already lived. So you've got a lot of life left to live.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think you want to do with that time? Who do you want to be? What kind of relationship do you want? Where do you want to live? What kind of travel do you want to do? What kind of work do you want to do? What kind of hobbies, creativity? And really start to ask those questions. You might be surprised at what comes up for you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not asking those questions, then what happens is we just live our life through old habit. Mm-hmm. We let the old talky talk run us and do us. So if we don't stop to ask those questions, you might still be worrying about eating perfectly 40 years from now. Because that's been the habit in the mind. The habit in the mind has been, oh, you need to be perfect. You need to be perfect. You need to eat perfectly. You need to look perfectly. You need to behave perfectly in order to be worthy and have love. Mm-hmm. No. I want to be loved for who I am, which is probably a little bit imperfect. Sometimes I don't know what I want. Sometimes I'm unclear. That's okay. That describes probably every human. So I'm really interested in you having a better relationship with food by you taking your relationship with your own destiny to the next level. And that to me means asking yourself juicy questions. Yeah, they're hard questions, but more than hard, they have substance. They're great questions. Who do you want to be when you grow up? Great questions.
I wanted to, I was working in academia until this December, and I wanted to be a scientist, and I was, and this is what I wanted, but then I felt like it's really eating my entire life. And in one moment, I had the feeling that I cannot manage to have private life and live in academia. And I started to be so drained out, so burned out. So I decided to leave at the end of this year. And maybe this is, this is the reason that I'm so unsure who I really am right now, because I'm sort of trying to reestablish myself again. And so I decided to go to, I will go to Ecuador and Peru I will go in January and stay there until April. And then I decided to take a yoga training because this is what I wanted to do. But I still don't know if it's another, I was just thinking, I would really like one day to have a very ordinary everyday life, which would be happy. Something like makes me really feel like crying, going to having breakfast together with my family and having dinner together with my family. And I don't know, something really simple. because actually I was thinking that this is again something a bit extra. So I don't know how to, yeah. I think I know how to do something extra, but I don't know how to do the ordinary things. It looks like it, or yeah.
I'm really happy for you that you were so brave to make that decision that, okay, I'm gonna leave academia at some point this year, and I'm gonna go travel. I'm gonna take a yoga training. And what I hear is you needing to expand yourself and wanting to expand yourself and take yourself out of an environment that, okay, you thought you wanted, and that's fine. People do this all the time. We have our dreams, we have our aspirations, we have goals, and you go for them and you get them and you realize, I don't know that this goal really gave me what I thought it was going to give me. And I don't know that that's bad. You have followed your instincts, and you've followed where your journey has been calling you, and now you've realized, wait a second, I want an ordinary life. And ordinary, it's, you know, in the English language, ordinary, we often make it out to be a boring word. But ordinary to me is actually a very beautiful word, because that's what so many people want and need, is an ordinary life. And ordinary means I can have moments of happiness and moments of peace and moments of connection. And I'm not trying to be extraordinary, perfect, superwoman, superman, super this, super everything. No, that's too much pressure. It's too much pressure, and you've tried it and it doesn't work for you. And maybe you'll return back to a related field at some point if you can do it in a very ordinary way. But the soul, I think the soul loves the ordinary. Our soul loves simple things. It loves having tea and coffee and breakfast and being with people we love. Like, the soul loves that. Nothing can substitute for that. And I think you're being very brave, and I think you're being very courageous, because you've already made a choice. You've already identified, wait a second, this path that I've been on no longer works for me. So you're shifting. And while you're shifting, you're not going to know who you are, because you don't. But you, at very least, you know who you're not anymore. I'm not that same person. And you have a good idea who you are. You know that you want a certain ordinariness. You want a certain naturalness to your life. You want simple pleasures. Simple pleasures are the most beautiful pleasures. Complex pleasures are very difficult because they're complex. Simple pleasures, you can have simple pleasures every single day of your life. So to me, you're just learning to follow more and more your soul's calling. And sometimes when we follow our soul's calling, it means letting go of certain things. It means we're going to be crying a little bit. It means we're not going to be sure. It means we might have some regrets. But it also means that you're just opening up your life to something completely new and potentially very wonderful.
Yeah. So.
How are you feeling right now, Lenka?
I feel certain relief, which, yeah. So I had the feeling like, okay, I'm feeling very emotional, actually. But at the same time, I feel really relief, like if I would let go of something during speaking with you, talking to you, sorry, I don't know. Yeah.
Yes.
It's relaxing.
That's what it looks like. It looks to me like you're more relaxed and that there's a little bit of letting go. I think part of that is that you've really expressed what sounds to me like one of your deepest desires, if not your deepest desire right now. Oftentimes we have very deep desires that we're not expressing because whatever reason, we're trying to be somebody that we're not, where I think I should be somebody else. But what I really want is a simpler life. I don't want to have to be super person. I don't want to have to be extraordinary. I want to be ordinary. And ordinary means, yeah, I'm in a wonderful relationship and I have family around me and I do simple things. And that's a great dream for yourself. There's been this part of you that doesn't believe that that's a worthy dream. That's a beautiful dream. Not a lot of people have that. Or I think more people wish they would have that than we could ever know. Because the world is so busy. We're so busy.
Yeah, I'm sometimes not sure if it's not too late or, but hopefully not.
No, never too late. Really. It's not too late. Maybe it's just the perfect timing. Maybe you're really ready now. You have the tools, you have the internal resources, and part of the journey is just, I think for you is going to be trusting in your life just a little more. You could be scared. Sure, yes. You're going to worry, am I going to get what I want? Is this too late? And also, I can trust my life. I can trust my instincts. I can trust my intuition. I can trust my soul's calling. And be dedicated to that. So just like you dedicated yourself to being perfect in your life or perfect in your job, whatever that meant for you, now you're just going to dedicate yourself to, okay, how do I create an ordinary life with a wonderful relationship that works for me? And I think you're doing the right next step, which is leaving behind a career that doesn't work for you anymore. Expand yourself through travel, expand yourself through other learning opportunities. Yoga gets you into your body, helps you just get into yourself more and make contact with you. So I think that's a wonderful next step. That's how you get to know yourself. You go to different environments that are calling you and do different experiences that are calling you and just start to get to know the new you. Very exciting.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I definitely look forward at something different. I try not to create too many expectations because it doesn't work usually. Yeah. Get usually something else. I think actually I have to say that also taking this training was one moment when I started to reflect more on my life and its meaning. Yeah, and maybe it helped me also to realize how the ordinary life is really what gives us, I think it's grounding, I would say. What I really miss is grounding. And I think this is what the everyday ordinary life in some, I don't know, I wanted to say functioning family, but I don't know if it's, again, not too much, like just some family with people who kind of like each other. It's really, I think, grounds you. And I think that this is actually a good start with than any kind of even super career, that having this home to come back. Yeah.
Yes. So you feel good about our conversation today?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So do I. I think there's a new opening for you here, and I think it's a great idea for you to just keep trusting yourself and trusting that you're making good choices. I think you are. And trusting that you're learning things about yourself that you realize, okay, these are things I want to change, that need to change. Perfectionism, need to change that. Opening up to relationship and really acknowledging, like, this is what I want. And not holding back in yourself from that desire. You don't know how you're going to get it. You don't know how you're going to find it. That I understand. But that's different from the pure desire, which is, I want this. I want an ordinary life. I want a great relationship. Just to begin to just feel the desire without trying to problem solve. How am I going to get this? How am I going to do this? Is it too late? Without trying to problem solve it. Step one is just feeling how much you want that and feeling how good it is to want that. Feeling how good it is to identify that this is what I want. Focus on that for a little bit. And I think you're on the right road.
Thank you, Marc.
Thank you, Lenka. I'm so glad we had this chat. I really am.
Me too. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Take care, my friends.
Thank you very much.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care. And remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.